Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be talking about my birth story with my second child, my son TJ. I actually did not get a chance to film an actual birth story with my first child, my daughter Ariana. I feel like I was just like in the throes of being a first-time mom and completely overwhelmed with all the things that were required of me at the time, and it just felt like way too much to try and get an actual birth vlog up at the time. And so I felt like it was important for me to kind of this time around do the things that I didn't get to do the first time around. So I have him here. He's right here to my right. He's sleeping in his snuggle me, so you might hear some baby coos and whimpers throughout the course of the video, but I wanted to share because I don't know, I just wanted to commemorate this time and not forget anything. And I know the longer it takes, the little details kind of begin to slip away from the experience. So you know, I did have a vaginal birth with my first child, my daughter Ari, and this time was no different. I had a vaginal birth with my son. It was a typical Monday morning. I was 39 weeks and about 2 days, and Tony and I, how do you say it? You know, there are certain things, certain activities that take place. This may be too much information, but certain activities take place that are certain activities that can happen that can trigger labor to happen. And so one of those activities took place. You guys can probably guess what that activity was on this particular Monday morning. And shortly after that activity was complete, I started experiencing contractions. Now, this is a Monday morning. The Sunday prior, the day before, I had a couple of contractions sporadically throughout the day, but it wasn't consistent and it wasn't anything that was crazy. Now, the weekend, there's a vlog I think I shared of me like crazily cleaning the house. I think it might have been one of my last nesting videos where I was sharing how I just need to clean the house. I gotta clean up. That Saturday was there. That was that Saturday. Then that Sunday I was just exhausted and I had a couple of contractions. Just spent the day kind of relaxing, not doing too much because I was exhausted from cleaning the previous day and having a couple of contractions. And then Monday, we had the activity that took place in the morning, and then I started to go into like early labor where I was like contracting consistently. I started tracking my contractions on an app, and I think I have the app here. The app looks like it's called Contraction Timer. Actually, I still have the contractions up from that day, and it basically the app looks like this. It's like a teal blue. It's this one right here. It's like a teal blue. I wish it would. And it looks like this. And basically what you're able to do is you're able to share the contractions. I think you are able to share the contractions with someone else who's not in your home, or just link a phone number, and those contractions can be shared with a doula, a midwife, your OB if you want to, and they can like kind of let you know, hey, your contractions are pretty close, you should go to the hospital, whatever. So I started, it tracks everything for you, the duration of the contraction, how far apart the previous one from the current one, and it also gives you notifications as to whether or not you should go to the hospital. So we did the do around 6:30 in the morning, and then around 6:45, 7 o'clock, I started having contractions consistently. Actually, I think I actually started having contractions before we did the do, and then I think the stuff that we did, I don't want to say it on here because I don't want YouTube to demonetize me or flag me for anything. The stuff that we did, I think actually made it more intense. So I had started feeling those contractions pretty frequently, about every 10 minutes or less, to 8 to 10 minutes. And once we actually, you know, completed the activity, the contractions got closer together. And I was like, oh, I don't know, like, should we go? This, because with my first pregnancy, I had contractions for 2 days before I went to the hospital. And, you know, they weren't consistent enough or close enough apart, close enough together to warrant me going to the hospital. But this time around, I was a little worried because I knew that with my second baby, things could go a lot faster. And because because of how quickly I got pregnant after having Ari, I was pregnant when Ari was 6 months. Pregnant again when Ari turned 6 months. I knew that things could go a lot faster, and I didn't want to risk having the baby here at home or having the baby on the way to the hospital. So I called my doula and I asked her, I shared my contractions with her, and she was like, yeah, mama, I think you should go. I think you should go to the hospital. Now, we had just gotten a new pool table, and the pool company that we purchased from, this is all going to make sense in a moment. The pool table we purchased the pool table from, the company we purchased the pool table from has a store at the mall, and they had promised Tony some free like pool cues. And because I was a little scared that I would get turned away from the hospital, I told Tony we could go to the mall, which is near the hospital, and just walk for a little while, pick up the pool cues, and then we could just, you know, go to the hospital right from the mall. So that's exactly what we did. So in the birth vlog, when labor and delivery vlog, you saw us kind of go directly to the hospital. What you didn't see is that we had walked the mall a few times while I was contracting, and that was hard because I was literally in the store while we were picking up the pool cues, and like every 2-3 minutes, like every 5 minutes, like stopping to like contract and then continuing to walk. And I was just trying to walk through the contractions, doing shopping, talking. Like, people saw how pregnant I was and were like, what are you doing here? You look so pregnant. People were hilarious that day. When we finally decided to, when the contractions got so close where I was just like, yeah, we should probably go. We arrived at triage. They you know, did their assessment at triage, and I was still afraid that the contractions were not close enough together or frequent enough to literally allow me to stay and labor at the hospital. Whenever I would not move as much or not move around as much, the actual contractions would kind of slow down and wouldn't be as frequent. But whenever I was walking around, moving around, they were like spot on, like every 3 to 4 minutes, and close and intense too, and painful. And so once I got to triage and the midwife on call came in to check me to see how far along centimeters wise, how dilated I was, she surprisingly sat down and was like, oh my goodness, you're at 6 centimeters. You're having this baby today. And Tony and I looked at each other and was like, okay, so we're having a September 26th baby. That was kind of surprising for me because when I had Ari, when we got admitted, I was admitted at 3-4 centimeters. And so it took quite some time for me to dilate enough to be ready to push. So to be at 6 centimeters when we arrived at triage was really surprising. So basically, you know, we were able to get admitted to the hospital. My gynecologist was not on call for that day, so I knew I would not be laboring and delivering with her like I did with Ari. But I was okay with that because I'm kind of in high stress situations, I'm a very go with the flow person, which is weird. I know a lot of people kind of tense up when things aren't able to go the way that they would normally probably want them to. But for me, it's just like, I was like I'm a very like surrender it all to God type of person when it comes to things that are completely out of my control. And birth, for me, birth is like the ultimate thing that is completely out of control, out of my control. Like, I am just the vessel through which the child comes. Like, how he or she gets here is completely up to God and God alone. And so I was like not tripping about not being able to see my gynecologist, my doctor that I had seen throughout the entire course of the pregnancy. I was not tripping about, you know, how things were gonna go. I opted not to have my doulas come this time. Like, I kind of just wanted it to be me and Tony, and that's what it was. So I got into the actual room. My water had not broken yet, and like Ari's birth, my water did not break. My water had to be broken in order for my delivery to progress. And so I knew that at some point my water might have to be broken before I got to a place where TJ was ready to kind of come down and actually be ready to push him out. I probably could have pushed him out quicker, meaning like the labor itself could have been shorter, I think, if I had actually allowed the birth team to break my water sooner. But I opted to kind of labor on my own and continue dilating from the 6 centimeters to 10 centimeters, so that I wanted my body to kind of do what it knew to do. And I never want to force my body to do anything it's not ready to do. So I wanted to kind of let me do me. Once I got into the room, got my gown on and decided I was gonna let myself kind of labor. I was pretty comfortable, as you guys could see when I first got into the room, very comfortable with like the contractions were pretty strong and close together, but I was kind of just like letting things kind of flow, laughing and joking with Tony, just trying to be positive. And I was really excited to meet TJ, so I was just kind of like, you know, trekking through the contractions. I did not get an epidural when I got into the room. I kind of wanted to wait it out and labor through the contractions as much as I could before getting the epidural, because I knew that the contractions could get a lot more intense. But I also didn't want to wait too long, because I knew that once I hit maybe 8 or 9 centimeters, it might be too late to get an epidural, and then I would have to actually push him out without an epidural. And I wasn't sure I was ready for all of that. I'm a G, but I'm not like, you know, I want to pace myself. So after a few hours of laboring, I had probably reached about 7 centimeters. I went ahead and got the epidural because I knew that I would probably need to get my water broken. And once my water was broken, I knew the contractions could get a lot more intense quickly. And so, because that's what happened with Ariana, and I was just like not ready for that. And so because as soon as I got the epidural, I knew, okay, at some point I would need to get my water broken. But once I had the epidural, I also knew that I didn't care about the pain as much. I knew the pressure was going to be kind of crazy. But I wasn't worried so much about the pain. Once I got the epidural, I was so happy and so relaxed. I was able to kind of get a little bit of a nap in, kind of relax my body a little bit more, and allow, you know, the pressure of the contractions to kind of do the work for me. Once I got the epidural, I wasn't able to eat after, so Tony had purchased like an acai bowl or something like that for me, and I wasn't able to eat that after, but I did eat it. You guys probably will have seen by now that I ate my acai bowl after the delivery was over, and TJ was here. Probably a few hours after that, I just kind of let my body do its thing. They kept asking me if, you know, I wanted to break my bag. I kept saying no. Break my water. I kept saying no. I wanted to wait as long as I could until I was probably about 9.5 to 10 centimeters. And they were like, hey, you know, you are pretty much ready to push. You just need to move him down a little bit more into your pelvis. And if we can, you have a little bit of your cervix, your cervical lip. But once we break that water, he'll push right past that, and it's not going to be an issue for you to get him out. And probably I tried to wait as long as I possibly could. And what I mean by that is I tried to wait as long as I possibly could, because there's a point for me, there's a point with birth where the pressure gets so high whenever there's a contraction that I feel like I'm literally about to poop on myself. And if I let go, it will come out. And I hate to sound like that. I know that's TMI, but I tried to get to a point where I was so uncomfortable that I knew I was ready to actually push him out. Like, that's where you know, like, oh, I need to push. Your body's actually saying, I have to push. Like, your body's like actually starting to push for you, actually starting to push the baby out. And it's like completely involuntary. Like, you're not doing any work. You're not pushing. You're not actually bearing down. You're literally feeling your body push the baby for you. And it's magical. It's crazy. It's such a godly thing. And that's why I feel like it's such an emotional and raw thing. It's carnal. And so I was just like, okay guys, let's break my water. And so the midwives came in, they got ready, they suited everything up. And my nurse on call, my nurse that was like my male nurse, I had a male nurse. My male nurse actually delivered Ari as well. He was there with me as well, with Tony on my right. And as soon as they broke my water, I kept asking, is it gonna hurt? Is it gonna hurt? And they were like, nah, you're just gonna feel like a kind of a gush, and then you're just gonna feel kind of like a release of pressure. As soon as they broke my water, I literally felt TJ come down into my pelvis. And I was just like, oh my God, it's happening. He's coming, he's coming, he's coming. And before I knew it, before any other nurses could get into the room, and usually there's like a rush of nurses that come in when you're delivering vaginally. That's all I know. Like, I've never had a C-section. I've never had, delivered any other way. Usually there's a bunch of nurses coming in, and they're at different stations in the room to help with the baby, depending on, the circumstances. And so it was happening so fast. As soon as they broke my water, I felt TJ's head come down, and I freaked out because I literally could feel him. And it was like the most, it wasn't painful. It was just the intense pressure. And Tony was like, oh my God. And I grabbed Tony's hand, I grabbed my nurse's hand, and as I'm pushing, as I feel him coming down, as I feel him coming out, my nurse is on my left making a phone call to all the nurses on the floor, like, get in here. The patient is delivering. And so, like, people are coming in as TJ's head is coming out. And that feeling, that moment where your baby's head comes out, it's called the ring of fire, because you literally feel yourself open up. And it's like this intense burning sensation, but it's very short. It's very quick. Because once the head is out, because that's the biggest part of them really, is their head and their shoulders. Like, once his head was out, I knew I was pretty much done, because I was like, oh, okay, I'm good now. And then the rest of him just slipped out. And it's those moments right after you push your baby out are the most nostalgic, relieving. It's like you feel like the most powerful woman on earth. And I think, birth in general, whether you deliver vaginally, whether you deliver through a cesarean section, it's a powerful thing. And I don't feel like either one should be, I feel like people kind of like place one over the other, and I don't think that's cool. And I don't feel like cesarean section is an easy way out. People say that too. I don't understand that. Like, what? They're both hard. One's a major surgery and the other is like this huge act of pushing a child out. Like, they're both difficult in their own ways, and they're both significant in their own ways. And I don't feel like one should be placed over the other. But that's neither here nor there. I just want you guys just to know, like, he came out fast, and obviously there's a lot of this I couldn't show on the actual birth vlog or labor and delivery vlog because, you know, it's a little too raw, and all hospitals don't allow you to film. But it's an intense, I used one contraction to push him all the way out. And I think on the vlog you guys might hear them say, like, Tony was like, oh my God, Lana, I was like, that was 2 pushes. And they were like, no, it was like 1.5, because literally, like, he came so fast. And with him coming so fast, he swallowed a lot of amniotic fluid. I think he swallowed some blood. And so when he was in the video I will have posted, which you probably will have seen by now, which is the first 24 hours with a newborn, you will have seen that he was sneezing a lot, and I had to like pull mucus out of his nose, and he spit up a lot of like that amniotic fluid and blood and stuff like that. And that's normal for babies within the first 24 to 48 hours, or even a little bit longer after birth, because of how quickly he came out. So yeah, I think that is the story pretty much. You know, once he came out, I felt like a huge sense of relief, and the pain was gone, pressure was gone. You go through a lot and I delivered the actual placenta. They held that up and showed us that. I think I have footage of them showing us the placenta and all that stuff. And Tony got to hold and cut the umbilical cord this time around, which is something he didn't get to do the first time around. That we showed that in the video. And yeah, it was a really great delivery, much faster, all in one day. So from 6:30 in the morning to like 9:55 p.m. when he was actually delivered. Probably a good solid 15 hours of labor, I'd say, which is pretty good in comparison to what it was for my first kid. And you know, he just came into the world really just a chill little boy. He only cries when he gets, you know, has like a diaper change here and there, or when he's hungry. Other than that, he's a really chill baby. I think I can show you guys now. Here's TJ sleeping here on my desk, snuggled up. He's such a sweetheart. He's already got like such an amazing personality, very similar to his sister. Right now he's about 3.5, going on 4 weeks old, and I'm thriving. Right now we are just adjusting to 2 under 2, and I probably can do another video on this, you know, with him, about, you know, how it is adjusting to 2 under 2. Ari is adjusting as well. She loves her little brother, but she's still trying to figure out like where he fits in everything. We do have help. We recently welcomed our new au pair from Colombia, so we have someone watching Ari during the day, during the week, so that we can focus on TJ as well. And I am currently on maternity leave through January, so it has been a crazy ride. We've been doing a lot of things behind the scenes and trying to prepare for 2 under 2, a new au pair who lives with us, and, you know, making sure the kids have everything they need and I have everything I need. And Tony has been an amazing support as always. I'm just super grateful right now for this season of life. It's a hectic season. It hasn't been without its challenges, but it has been a pretty smooth transition, partially because we weren't that removed from the newborn stage. I think it's different when you have kids that are a little bit further apart in age. But that has its advantages too, just like this does. But then it also has its disadvantages as well. We have 2 kids in diapers right now, so it's a lot. And you know, both kids don't have any regulation. Mari's 1. She doesn't have any regulation of her emotions yet. So we're dealing with a lot of things at once right now, and trying our best to be, you know, implement some gentle parenting tactics. And yeah, it's been a lot. But I'm enjoying, and I'm trying to kind of take things in stride and not really stress too much. Obviously there's going to be some anxiety and some adjustments, but I'm grateful, and I'm so grateful for a healthy, happy baby and a healthy, happy me. Because you know, birth is a dangerous thing. I believe birth is the closest birth is the closest a woman can come to death without actually dying. And obviously you guys know that birth is something that has led to people passing. So it's not a simple thing. It's a God thing. It is really a God thing, and I really believe that. And I'm grateful for the ability to do it and to complete it and get through the way that I have. So yeah, that's it. I am sipping on my coffee. I'm gonna wait for him to wake up for another feeding, and then after that, hear him. After that, you know, I'm just gonna carry on with my day. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for all the well wishes. You know, from the birth vlog and, you know, the labor and delivery vlog, I should say. Can't wait to make more content and see where this goes. I'm just making content because I feel like it right now, and enjoying that, and hoping to be and remain consistent. And I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Peace.